Hi, this is Stu. When I was putting together the promo video for the Adobe Lightroom presets, I had a bunch of these zoomy, cross-dissolve-y photo transitions that I needed to do. The effect is usually known as the Ken Burns effect, and I had enough of them to do that I created a little preset for Adobe After Effects to streamline the process of creating and tweaking them. It's called Lost Burns, and I'm going to show you how it works. So we start by just importing some stills from the video here into After Effects. They're all different sizes, all different resolutions, all different aspect ratios. The preset is designed to work with any size comp. I'm just going to use 1920 by 1080. To start off, we'll just import all of the images into the comp at once. As you can see, they're all different sizes, all different aspect ratios, and much, much larger than even the HD size of the comp. If I wanted to start animating those, I'd need different settings for each and every one. I wouldn't be able to copy keyframes from one to the next. And then I'd have all these keyframes to deal with, which would become yet another thing to adjust when I want to change the timings. So I thought there had to be a better way, and it turns out there is. Lost Burns. So here I'm just going to trim all of these layers to a bit shorter length. I just did that by selecting them all and hitting Option close bracket. And I'm going to just spread them out in time a little bit. You'll notice that I'm cascading them up and I'm overlapping them just a little bit. All right, so let's select them all and double click the Lost Burns preset. The first thing you'll notice is this error message. You can totally ignore this. It's annoying, but just hit OK. And in fact, you're going to hit OK 5 times because you applied the effect to 5 different layers. This is version 1.5 of Lost Burns, and the big difference from the previous version, as you'll see right here, is that now it looks like a real grown-up effect. So with just applying that preset to every single one of these layers, you see we've got a zooming cross-dissolve transition from each of the layers. You can see from their wireframes that each layer starts large and then zooms to exactly fit the frame before it completely disappears and gives way to the next one. And in fact, that cross-dissolve corresponds exactly to the overlap of the layers. If I enlarge the overlap, I get a longer, smoother cross-dissolve. And if I remove the overlap entirely like I did here, I get just a hard cut. You can also change the length of the layer, and the animation will change automatically. No keyframes are necessary. That makes it really easy to adjust the timings of this, and that's why, even though After Effects isn't the best environment for doing creative editorial, I prefer doing this kind of thing in After Effects, because I can easily see how these layers all relate to each other. I can even see how the cross-dissolves relate. It makes it very powerful and easy. All right, so let's take a look at the customizability. By default, each of these layers is animating from 150% scale to 100%, so it's zooming out. But of course, we can change that. Here in this first one, let's, for instance, start at 100, and let's say end at 130, not zooming in quite as much. Okay, so now we start at 100. You'll notice it perfectly fits the layer. This image happens to be 16 by 9. And as we zoom in, well, that's cool that we're zooming in, but we're kind of zooming in to the center of the frame. That's not exactly appropriate. It's just an empty road. So what we have is the option to use custom center point. So when you check this on, this little effect control point becomes the center point of the zoom. So we could put that on, say, my face. Now, how about my camera? Okay, so now you'll see that we start with 100% and we zoom in slowly onto my camera. Now this next shot is also a good candidate for custom center point because we're missing the fun part of the shot, which is that this building here, the vehicle assembly building at NASA, is the largest single-story building in the world, and we really need to see the scale of it. So I'm going to say use custom center point for this and grab the center and move it down to try to get some of the context of the scale, get all those trucks and RVs and stuff down there. We're still not quite seeing it though, and that's because this image is a different aspect ratio than my frame, and at the end of the shot, at 100%, it's the width that's matching up at 100%, not the height. Well, I can change that. by adjusting scale 100% to. By default, it's fill the frame. In other words, at the end of the shot, we're going to completely fill the frame with the image, leaving no border. And that's the same, by the way, as match width. In other words, now for this image, since it's taller than the frame, match width is the same. But you could also say match height, and now that's going to snap into place and do the height. If you know for sure that you have a bunch of them that you want to treat the same way, you can say fit entire image, and that way, regardless of the aspect ratio, you'll see every pixel of the image at 100%, or fill the frame, and that way, regardless of the aspect ratio, you'll never see any black borders. Now, one of the great things about the fact that this is a preset effect like this is I can copy and paste settings. So I'm going to copy the settings. I'm just hitting Command C there. And I'm going to go to the next layer and paste. And you'll see they pop right in. So now the same exact settings are on this one. The other cool thing about this is that you've got a reset button. This we didn't have before in version 1.0. Reset is really handy. You can always just reset to the defaults. Okay. Now, that's all well and good. We've very quickly set up a zooming cross-dissolving set of transitions here that probably would have taken a long time to do any other way. But we've got this last shot. I'd really love to do a fade out. Now, we could put a black solid in there, overlap it, and apply the preset to it, but that seems like a bit of overkill. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to add some keyframes. You'll notice that the opacity is what's being animated here, and the opacity is managed by an expression. But at the tail, I can still set a keyframe at 100% and set another to 0, and that works as well. So at the head, the expression is controlling it, always adjustable, and at the tail, the keyframes control it. The two work together. And that is Prolapse Burns. Makes it really simple to set up and adjust an animated photo montage. I use it all the time, and I hope you will too. Thanks.